Okay, today we're going to change the fall on a David Morgan pocket snake whip. And this method works for any type of long lash whip with an Australian style fall hitch. Now we're changing the original fall, which has been soaked in Pecards very heavily for several years, and it's all slimy. We're going to swap this out for a new bridle leather fall, which is more durable than the original red hide that David Morgan's shop sells for their whips. And these falls I get from Make It Jones, UK, David Richardson. He makes all Indiana Jones leather goods, gun holsters, satchel straps, whip carriers, and whip falls. And in this case, he makes what I consider the best quality whip fall in the entire world. He makes them out of bridle leather and also tooling leather, which this is. And bridle leather is the same type of leather that Filson uses on their luggage. It's extremely robust, durable, long-lasting, and it does not flake apart or break away easily like red hide or white hide falls do. So the first thing we're going to do is put the new fall onto the whip, threading it over the old one. So we use our Pecards leather dressing, and what we do is we grease the eye of the fall so it slides easily over the original one. And the trick here is to get it inside of the eye, because that's the part that's going to encounter the most friction when you put it over the whip. And what you do is you match up the finished side of the new fall with the finished side of the original fall, so it goes on the same way as the whipmaker put it on originally. So what we do is, the finished side is the top. This is the finished side of the bridle leather fall. So we're going to thread it just like a needle and thread. Through here. Then you keep the strands together, put them through in one bunch, and just pinch it here to widen the eyelet, and then work it over the original fall hitch. So now we have both falls on the whip, keeping the finished side up, matching the original one. We're going to slide this back and get it out of the way until we need it. Now, to remove the original fall, you need a fid and a razor blade. And what you do is you put the razor blade, you put the fid through the eyelet to keep the blade from cutting into the strands. Like that. And with your razor blade, you're going to very carefully saw the leather, cut into the leather, down to the fid, the metal part, without cutting the strands off. I know this part is nerve-wracking for a lot of novices, and I was the same way the first time I did it. But it's actually very easy to do. You just very carefully saw the leather down until you cut through it, and the fid is going to stop the blade from going into the whip. Very gentle sawing motions. Check it and see how far it's split. We're not quite there yet. We're almost there. It's going through. There we are. Now that the leather is cut open, you have to remove the old fall. And you can do that with a pair of scissors. You just chop off this part, the large half of it, and throw that in the trash. And then the other part is down here. You can also chop that off if you like, but you don't have to because it's going to slide through. And as I said, this is an extremely well greased original fall. It'll just slide right out. So what you do is you get a pair of pliers, or you can do it by hand actually. This should slide off by hand. And you just pull it out like that. And this goes in the trash. We're done with that one. Now the new fall is going to go into the tunnel the same way. And again, you have to add some dressing to it to grease it up so it'll slide through without catching. It gives it a smooth transition. So put some grease on it. Picard's leather dressing, which is what all whip makers use and recommend. Now you're going to feed the point of the new fall into the tunnel until it comes out this end here. You get a pair of pliers, clamp down, pull it through. Just like that. And then you slide the eye forward as you pull it. Now, you want to make sure that you tuck your longest strand under the eyelet as you go before you tighten it down. So, a little further. And you put this through here. And you can also use the fid to kind of pull it back a little bit so it doesn't get caught. Or a pair of pliers if you have some fine needle nose. It's going to try to pop out again, so. So you keep a grip on that. And sometimes it goes easy and sometimes it doesn't. This one's being a little bit difficult actually. There we go. Down a little bit. If I can push that into there. If it's long enough, you can pull it through fairly easily. This one here is a little bit short. Like I said, it's going to vary from whip to whip, you know. You do something a million times and then the next time it doesn't work right. It happens. Get a hold of it. Of course, it's very greasy. So what we can do is actually pull it back a little bit. We can reverse it. Have to get that strand through the eyelet. Push it with the fit if it'll catch. Pinch the leather. This one's not being cooperative. There we go. There it goes. Pull that through. It's got a lot of grease on it too, so it tends to slide around. This isn't going quite as smooth as I hoped it would. Generally, the operation doesn't take any more than 10 minutes. If you've done it, once you've done it a few times, you know, the first time you're very careful because you don't want to damage the whip, of course, because whips are expensive. You know, nice whips are kangaroo whips. There we go. Get in there. And you're spending the kind of money that people spend on custom-made whips. They don't want to do anything to damage their investment. You want it to last as long as possible. So you take very good care of them. You maintain them and make sure nothing happens to them. Wrap it around and give it a good tug. That'll set it. So it's secure in there, nice and tight. The strands are tight around it. And if the strands are loose by any chance, you can actually use a pair of pliers and give each one of them a tug, and it'll actually tighten up the hitch around each strand. And you can tighten them in sequence, and it'll tighten it right up and give it a good grip. But in this case, we were able to slip it through nice and tight the first time. So when it's all finished, it looks like that. And then, of course, you have to tie on your cracker at the end of the new fall. The bridle leather is extremely durable. It's very it's flexible, but it's also firm. It's kind of hard, so it's harder to get the cracker to really bite into it when you tie it on there. And usually it takes a couple of tries to get it to go, because you have to put the cracker on your half hitch, loop it around, pull it through, and then get the thing to get it to bite at the end here before it slips off. So I'm not going to do that on camera because that'll take another 15 minutes to do to get it to bite. But that is how you change a fall on a long lash whip. Thank you very much.